Secretary Perry, one of the things that the good Lord has blessed us with is trillions of cubic feet of natural gas beneath our feet. As a Pennsylvanian, I'm very proud of the fact that we just became the #2 producer of natural gas in the United States. I can't quite recall who's #1, but somewhere down there on the Mexican border, and I heard they had a hell of a governor some years ago. But meanwhile, in other parts of the United States, most notably in the Northeast, there are utilities cutting off service or not extending service because there's no gas.
Yeah.
We had Russian gas coming into Boston instead of U.S. gas. What can be done about that?
Yeah, let me address the innovation side of 15 years ago, there were people telling us that we had found all the natural resources, peak oil, remember that speech? And because of American innovation, because the private sector was not strangled, a guy by the name of George Mitchell, who came up with the concept of hydraulic fracturing, and then working with some national labs back in the early to mid-2000s, they came up with the ability to keep the polycarbonate bit on the drilling bits, and so you had the directional drilling. You put those two together, and that's been the innovation that's allowed this extraordinary innovation. The sad thing is that not all Americans are getting to enjoy that because of some boneheaded political decisions that are made from time to time. Sorry, my word. In this case, New York, which won't allow those pipelines to transverse. You know, there's two Uticas. There's a Utica, New York, and there's a Utica, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
And you go to Pennsylvania, northern Pennsylvania, which I think you know a little bit about, and there's a real renaissance going on there because they have allowed for the development of their natural resources, the jobs that have been created, all of the quality of life that comes with that. Plus, they're delivering to the American people a clean burning fuel, lowering the emissions from the older inefficient plants we had. Cross the border into New York, and it may look like old-time poverty that we've, hoped we had gotten past in this country, but because of policies that are being put in place in Albany, Albany, New York, those citizens, and jeopardizing one of the most important financial centers in the world. If we have a polar vortex that comes into this country, and New York does not have the diversity of power to be able to keep the power on. I mean, you get a 10-day, 2-week cold snap where it is really, really cold, and you could see the loss of power to one of the most populated cities in the world, the chaos that would ensue. The President of the United States, he understands that we can't afford that we have to have a diversity of supply. That's the reason he wants to see clean CCU type coal technology, nuclear technology in place, our natural gas being able to be delivered anywhere in this country, nuclear power. All of that's going to be needed in the future, and these states that limit that because of their political concerns jeopardize their future of their citizens, not just economically, but literally, I will suggest, jeopardizing their lives.
And Secretary Chao, I think we all recognize that infrastructure is so vitally important to both store and transport the energy supply. So, for example, LNG,
yes.
So vitally significant. What is your department doing to move that forward and make those supplies readily available?
Well, like so many of these federal departments, they have such jurisdiction. So the Department of Transportation actually regulates safety, certifies the safety of the pipelines. And so we want to make this a process whereby we are facilitating the energy independence of America. So we have actually signed and worked very closely with FERC, with Chairman Neil Chatterjee, because they don't have enough commissioners, on helping to reform the permitting process so that it is not so onerous and incomprehensible.